welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus, on the forum.
And this is Parker. Go by Dr. Mantis Toboggan, MD, on forums.
This is Jeremy. You can find me at LimeWire at #darkweb. Just
underscore
hitting
the
yes.
real Napster.
Just keep hitting yes. You'll finally get to me.
You'll actually find it will be faster if you hold Control, press A, and then press Enter. That will get you there the fastest.
Exactly. Thank you.
You don't want to miss any buttons.
Open it all.
Control, open all, auto, yes. And then you just take your fucking hard drive out and put it in the microwave. It's about as useful as it would be.
Oh.
Jeremy, I dare you to go to virus.com right now.
I'm going to pass.
Okay. I don't know what's there because
I don't either.
Am I brave enough to go?
Virus.com.
This is all helpful information. All helpful.
Yeah. You load in, it just auto starts clicking for you. You're like,
Virus.com.
no!
Tell the Geek Squad, I went to virus.com. I don't know what happened.
And they just start laughing. It's like, oh God, he did it. You're not supposed to do that. It's like an urban legend that's real. It's got chupacabras out there. Okay. So some quick announcements. Due to Parker's poor decision-making in the last podcast, he has wagered himself into 831 remaining
normally I'm pretty quiet during this portion of the podcast.
What?
But the choice of words you use there, poor decision-making, I was set up hard.
I don't agree with you. Parker, when have I ever bet you and it was a good idea to take the bet? Do I lose a lot of wagers? Do you remember me ever losing a wager of any kind?
I remember we took a wager once and we pushed. It was we were both wrong. But I think that's the best I've ever done. That's why I don't do shaved head bets with you.
I still think Hydra will be a
Well, you told me it was for different reasons because you knew it would never come back.
Oh, if I will never do a shaved head, but never, period, full stop. But there is a really good chance I would lose it to you.
Okay, listeners, this is our chance. He just said that he would never do a shaved head bet. Mm-hmm. But I'm willing to bet if we get some kind of like Make-A-Wish Foundation shit going on right here where we donate money to charity if Parker shaves his head to make a wig, I think we can get this to happen. Because he would have to say, I would rather all these children not get this money so I can keep my hair.
Yeah, that's selfish to keep your hair.
You would be a monster.
The cancer kids need hair.
First of all, I don't have long enough hair to donate. I know that for a fact. Because I did consider it at one time in college when my hair was really long, and I never got it long enough to donate, for one.
I've been sneaking prenatal vitamins into your food for the last 3 months. That's
prenatal vitamins would not increase hair growth.
It's going to grow fast. I don't know. I got this oil I put on my feet, and that hair grows super quick.
Oh my God.
All right. So anyway, now that Parker's interrupted my most important segment of the day, he's at 831 probationary episodes and owes Jeremy 11 pizza rolls. Mm-hmm. He is no longer allowed to say the words blade or pineapple on the podcast, or he gains more probationary episodes. And there is a new secret word that he does not know about that he's not allowed to say. I'm going to message it to Jeremy right now so Jeremy knows to listen for it as well.
I will listen for it.
Hold on, wait. I have to mute myself so he can't hear me typing. He might get a hint of how many words it is.
He does that.
All right.
Number of letters needs to be a secret.
If it's like 3 letters.
Yep, FBI. Let. Okay.
All right, I'm back.
Okay.
Jeremy, you got it?
I got it.
All right, Parker. Because we kind of railroaded you last time, not that we forced your hand at all.
No.
Because, well, I'll say it was not a favorable situation to be in.
No.
But I will give you this hint as to what the word is.
Oh, Jesus.
You have said it multiple times on the podcast already.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
But I would say the number is less than 5. And so out of 63 episodes, that's not bad.
Hold
on.
on.
Give you a good chance here.
Hold on.
That's,
this is
that's
actually
like a gift.
I thought the point was it's something that is rarely said in conversation. I've already said it.
You speak strangely.
Ah, Jesus.
You say dumb stuff. Jeremy, how many times have you or I said this word on the podcast?
Oh, I at least never. I've never.
Yeah, definitely.
No.
This is a Parker word.
Yeah.
It's something only Parker would ever say, like to an adult.
It's true.
All right. So that's going to wrap up announcements. Parker, do you have anything you want to say?
No, not at all. I don't want to say anything. Now I'm second guessing my vocabulary. Like what have I said?
Just talk like in Sling Blade.
It's so hard for me to tone it down. Okay, I'll try.
All right. So I will tell you, I've had 3 separate people say it was their favorite episode last
Oh
week,
no,
so.
it was. I will say this: even though I walked directly into a trap, do not press go, do not collect $200 directly. It was by far the funniest moment I think I've ever had in a conversation on the podcast. That was really good. I had absolutely no idea that was coming.
That was
perfect.
completely like impromptu. Like Jeremy joined the podcast before you while we were waiting. He's like, "Hey, guess who got top 4 in TTS?" I was like, "Who?" And he's like, "Just Sam." And I'm like, "Oh, wait, there's something here." It's like, give me a minute. And then you joined like 5 minutes later. I was like, "Oh yeah,
The fruit presented itself nicely.
yeah." It was like an all-you-could-rate buffet. All right, Parker, it's your go now. You have to say a word to start the next segment.
All right, it's time for news. News.
News.
What's the secret word? No, I'm just kidding.
So, well, I want you to know our news today is actually pretty darn short, short and sweet. I think Atomic Mass Games has been very occupied with they're doing some of their very first Star Wars unveils right now, and so their X-Wing is taking a lot of their news cycle. But we do have one spoiled thing. Out of the Colossus box, the last Tactics card has finally been spoiled, Indomitable. Although it does feature some pretty intense Colossus close-up art, it is an unaffiliated card, reactive. When an allied character would be thrown or pushed by an enemy effect, it may spend 2 power to play this card. The allied character is not thrown or pushed.
So yeah, this is basically like Brace for Impact, except it just stops the movement, which is kind of what we've wanted. This is pretty awesome.
I think the tactics card selection will be exactly your 2 restricted cards plus this card plus 7 more cards.
I think that is about correct. I even think that Climbing Gear is basically there at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because you always have a space for it, and it's that good.
Yeah, at 10 slots, I don't know how Climbing Gear doesn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I could understand if you had an extremely mobile list, but even then, like Climbing Gear's too good. I could. The only time I see you not having Climbing Gear if like you're already playing Avengers Assemble or something,
Mm-hmm.
in which case you're just trading those out equally, or maybe even just playing both. Yeah, this card is awesome. I could even see Brace coming back with the current meta being the way it is, where there's a lot of throws. And I think that Medpack is starting to see less value with stuff like Web Warriors and Sam Spam being everywhere.
We mean like people aren't interacting with you, so why heal?
Yeah, it tends to be when they go for you, they're going to get you, and so they're not doing a lot of like plink damage over time,
Mm-hmm.
and like gaining 3 health versus like, like a card like this, like keeping you on a point. Like even if this card gets restricted immediately, I think it's still played.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It might not be in every list, but it will be played.
Actually, this card, that's actually what was my first question for you guys to consider. This card, it doesn't seem like an NP, right? Like a negative play experience. Like if somebody said, "Oh, I'm going to prevent you from throwing my guy or pushing my guy once per game," I don't see that being.
This feels like a get even card.
Yeah, and for that matter, actually, maybe it is a lot like Brace, and for that reason, maybe it will get restricted. Because I don't know why Brace is restricted precisely. Actually, why was Brace restricted precisely? Actually,
it was in like every list for a while, and I think they wanted more list disparity.
Okay, well, so that's why Indomitable might get chosen. Is because they just if they just find that it's in every single list always, then it and Climbing Gear both get. I think
will
just get restricted.
The phrase they used when it was originally restricted was, "We felt that having all the heal cards and Brace just gave you too much consistency on survivability, to where like between Field Dressing, Patch Up, Med Pack, like Second Wind, Brace, it was like you could never kill anybody."
Okay. Well,
but that was also before stuff like Magneto came out, so like that's a different conversation as well.
right. I actually think then maybe for that reason, since Indomitable only is ever going to save you from taking 1 damage, I guess if you get thrown into another character, it'd save you from more than that damage. But unless it's one character getting thrown into another character, or getting thrown into an object, it's mostly a scenario kind of piece usually.
Yeah, it's a board position ability.
Yeah, so I think this one's actually one of those that's kind of like climbing gear. It's not so punishing for your opponent's play experience that it will get restricted. I like it. I like that though.
I actually think you're wrong, Parker. I think
You think
that
so?
I think that this card is. Think of how many times it matters and how many times you have the power to do the one thing you need. Most of the time, this game, you're grasping at straws to make something happen. And the one time you go and throw a model off a point to finally get ahead and they play that thing, like, this is going to be a ball buster when it's used. I think it's going to be in every list, and I think it's going to always be played exactly when it needs to.
I think the smart player is only going to play it when you don't have a backup plan.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now-
But at the same time, you can then play to the point where you never give them that opportunity, where they always have to do it at a bad time. And then it becomes this back and forth game, which is good
Mhm.
because that means there's interaction with it. Because it's I'm trying to bait out your card, just like Brace. Brace
Right.
is pretty obviously you play it on the first thing that gets thrown over size 3, but technically Brace has other applications. Like you can use it for efficiency if like 2 people get thrown into each other or something.
Brace is great because it only costs 1. I mean, costing 2 for this
Yeah.
card, it's good. And I mean, the cost is about right for where you need it. But Brace was just I'll pay 1 not to do that. Okay, good. It was just so
Yeah.
simple and clean and done. It'll be interesting. I think it'll be in every single list. I think all of a sudden now you only have 2 spots. You got your 2 restricted, you have this card, and then you have 2.
You mean
Yeah.
in the squad?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think the only
Well, I mean, this obviously doesn't get played if they don't have a lot of maneuvering.
I was gonna say every once in a while you can go up against somebody who doesn't have if your opponent has 1 throw or 1 push, maybe this gets played because
Sure.
it'll shut them down. But if your opponent has 1 throw or 1 push, maybe you go I would much rather have something that's gonna get me more mileage than dodging their 1 push or throw.
Yeah, like if you're playing against criminals, you're probably not playing this.
I don't know. Kingpin and his bullshit, man. Like,
That's 1 throw. I don't know, man.
maybe.
How many times?
I'm- Kingpin to me in Criminals is the only thing that does damage in the damn list.
Wait, what are we even talking about? He walks up, he's like, "Hail to the king!" You're like, "Indomitable street level negotiations." You're like, "Fuck!" Like it's like, what are you gonna do?
Right.
Like he's gonna throw your ass anyway.
And I think that's exactly the point. Is that most characters in the game have the ability to do it again. That's right. No, I'll take that back. A lot of characters that are consistent controllers will be able to just do it again. Like Shuri just shoots you with the other gun. Like it's
like Black Panther just hits you again.
right. You actually it's horrible against Black Panther because he gets the damage from the first claw and then the second claw maybe. It's not going to be bad. It's not bad. It's a really good card. It's a premium tactics card. But I do not know if it's so egregious that it's kind of like Brace.
Yeah, I
think
could have seen this be like active pay 3 power or like react in the power phase, pay 3 power. This character can be pushed or thrown for 1 turn. That would have been immediately game breaking.
Yeah.
Because that you could have put characters like Hulk or Black Dwarf on a point and they're just not going anywhere. And that would have been a big deal.
Mhm.
But this, I don't think it's crazy. I think it's like Brace for Impact. It's so consistently above average that it's going to see a lot of lists.
Yep. I'll give it an A. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, but like Brace for Impact, even like Brace for Impact can be played and not actually affect the game that much. This could be played and not affect the game that much.
Do you want to hear my super secret like shadow take?
On
You know what this card really says? Take your Jean Grey and throw her in the fucking trash.
Yeah.
Oh God, I so would like her to be good. What happened there?
That was a big oof.
Yeah.
I actually don't think she's a D character. I think she's a C character, but she's a C character.
If she was
She's
4
a C
points, she would
minus.
be a C.
Yeah, she's bad.
You think she's
5
bad?
points makes her shitty. Truly.
When would you ever play Jean Grey?
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong for wanting to. I'm just saying I don't see it.
Well, let me say this. If you rank the game, I think 5-point characters are supposed to feel like A and B character, grade A and B, and that's why I give her a C. I guess if we're ranking her, then yeah, she's like ranking her from 1 to 10. We could probably do that one day. I think she's low.
Let's look at it this way. But who's the 5-point character that's worse than Jean Grey?
It was Ebony Maw, but he's not anymore.
Yeah, you lost your fucking whipping boy.
Your whipping boy.
Oh, I mean, I told you he was bad first, but everybody else piled on. You never played him to learn he was bad.
Probably who's worse than Jean Grey? Maybe Cassandra Nova, even though she's just like the opposite
No.
of Jean Grey. You think she's better?
Cassandra is okay. She's
I
your
didn't
C.
even realize she was 5 points.
She's your C.
More hit points.
Can't have shit thrown at her.
Yeah, immune to collisions, basically.
Regeneration.
Yeah, regeneration probably doesn't matter, but it could. Has stealth.
I'm already sold. Jean Grey has none of that.
She's at least not objectively worse. And has less power issues.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point of Jean Grey, the only reason that you look at her card and go, oh, I want that, is Mind Shield, and she can't afford to fucking do it.
Is that really the only reason?
Yes.
Well, like, everything else is fine.
She's got a size. Got a size 4 throw medium. Telekinetic force. It costs a lot of power, but it is a big ass attack.
If you delete Mind Shield off this character, it's an F.
Mind Shield,
because there's always a better option.
She's 5 points for a 5 dice basic. It has SAP power, but it's only 5 dice.
Scarlet Witch is 5 points. Like, how is this character better than Scarlet Witch?
I know. She's way behind.
But so the argument is she has Mind Shield, which Scarlet Witch has no relevance to anti-control. And so that's the cornerstone that starts the conversation for Jean Grey, and she can't actually afford to do it and be useful at the same time. It's the same problem Ebony Maw had. He's like, well, he can throw like size 4 stuff. Yeah, if he's dead at the time, I guess, because he can't also defend himself. Like, it's really stupid. It just doesn't work. She's too power hungry. But anyway, I wanted to point out to you guys, I learned something today. Speaking of genes, did you know that diarrhea is hereditary? That shit runs in your genes.
You should be, like, punished.
I should be punished for that one.
That was a bad one.
That was a bad one. I liked that one. I liked that one because you didn't like that one.
I didn't like that one.
Before we get off of Abdominal, there's one thing about Abdominal that I do not know if I like. One of the things that I didn't appreciate about X-Wing is eventually there were these auto-include cards that made list building kind of restrictive. This is in 1.0. In 2.0 this does not exist, but in 1.0 it was kind of like, well, you automatically put auto blasters on every ship that possibly can. If you don't, you're not auto blasters, auto thrusters. You put them on every ship that possibly can, no matter what, always, period. If you don't, you're an idiot. It's just the best upgrade in the game for this kind of thing. And Indomitable feels like another one. It feels like an auto thruster kind of card. Like, it doesn't break the game. It just is so efficient and so strong. You definitely put it. And I guess what I'm saying is they gave us, 2 extra tactic slots and then took away 1 with this release.
I don't know if that's true because you can design the strategy of your list around not needing Indomitable.
Yep, I mean, you have lots of characters that can charge, move back, do things. I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
Hit and run characters, people like Red Skull and Lockjaw that can move people out of activation, even Cyclops, honestly. And so you can include that kind of stuff in your list. Or like Sam has the ability to move people out of activation. A lot of those things are also hard counter control to where like one tactics card like this wouldn't be that valuable. But you also, I don't think it's as simple as you're just putting in every list, because I think if it's going to make the difference after a few games of practice. If like you're playing against Web Warriors and you just need one more turn to get there, then this is exactly the card you need. But if you're playing as Web Warriors, you're getting blown out, then I don't think this card makes a difference.
Right.
I thought they were going to do more.
It basically is it's just different brace.
Well, I thought they were going to do more. I feel like this card should have landed in an affiliation or a couple characters. I'm kind of shocked that they're still putting these little splash cards that don't have any name on it. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, maybe.
It seems too ubiquitous. That's what I
Like
meant.
if you were within, 2 of Colossus, you can do this. Like some sort of like caveat.
Maybe they think Control's too strong right now, and they're trying to
be,
actively
sure.
like strategize against it. I don't think they're wrong. Control is pretty much running over the meta right now. The only thing that's not is Sam Spam, and that's just because they have counter control. But yeah, I think we all like this card a lot, and I'm interested to see where it lands. I think a lot of people are going to play it a lot.
Well, here's an interesting thing. Here, A-Force has this card, like the one you were mentioning before.
Yeah, kind of.
But no, it was the better version. The one you were saying is to be totally broken. If a character could just play a card and not be moved ever for a turn, push or thrown. Like A-Force has this card. It only costs 1 power for anyone in your team across the entire time during your power phase, and then you just get it for the rest of the round. And nobody seems to like gravitate towards A-Force, so they can be sure to play Stalwart Determination. Like
So
there's some evidence right there.
First, it's A-Force only. Second, it's A-Force characters. Thirdly, you have to play it in the power phase. So it's just like Inspiring Monologue. It just means you don't use the abilities. As where the Indomitable costs 1 more once, but is actually canceling the effect. So if they're activating Black Dwarf, walking up and spending the 3 power, and the requiring to be in position to use it, or any other number of other abilities to like push people, and then you get to play it.
Brandon,
like,
I don't
you
know why
can
you're
wait and see.
Brandon, are you arguing against your own point? You just 10 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago, you said if this just said you don't get to move for the entire round, it would be broken. But
it would be because it doesn't have A-Force character written on it. That's the big part. So this card is amazing for A-Force, but
Right.
A-Force is 1/16 of the meta.
right,
And so it's not actually an option.
Okay.
If this card didn't say A-Force on it, then yes, we're talking about a very different game. This card would literally have to be banned to not be in every list.
A-Force uses that card every time A-Force can. Like it.
Yeah,
it's
this
solid.
card is not only included
Right.
in every A-Force squad, but played in every game.
right.
I totally agree that is the case that it
Okay.
should be.
Okay, that's
I just wanted to say that because it's A-Force restricted and it has to be used in the power phase, it's less flexible. There's no question it's still better than Indomitable.
okay. I was just making the point that it is there, and we don't see people, gravitating to A-Force to make sure they can cancel Control. I was just making
Right.
another point that Indomitable is a good card, a card. It's not it's not field dressing. I don't think it's field dressing.
Right.
So that was
I
news.
do think now that Bitter Rivals is restricted as well, that I think that we're finally going to start seeing some shakeup in the restricted card section.
I'm happy where they're at. It feels pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that All You Got is gone. That changes the game a lot.
Yeah.
It's weird that you guys say that. And I'm not trying to make a smart ass point here. When did people play All You've Got a bunch? Because since,
I feel like you missed that.
Yeah.
Like you were just not there when it happened. It was fucking everywhere.
okay, because since I've been playing, I feel like I was the only one using All You Got. For like everyone I was playing, never using All You Got. And when I was playing it, people were looking at me like, All You've Got. Oh yeah, that card. I was like, so I think I missed the era where everybody was abusing All You Got.
It was pretty much everywhere for a while. I was playing it with Punisher for a while. It was pretty funny.
It's one of those cards that became like something of it was going to get banned or taken off the table in some way, so I stopped using it. I stopped using it like a month before it was officially taken out, just because there's no point. Because you had to figure out a different way.
It's kind of like the broken model that is getting adjusted or banned. It's like, okay, well, it's kind of bad manners at this point because we all know it's about to get fixed because it's definitely not okay. It's kind of like when Jeremy tried to stop playing field dressing for a while and then they didn't ban it. So he
I
was
know.
like, fuck.
I was like, fuck it. I'll put it back in.
Tried to get ahead of
Fine.
the meta.
I tried. Take a moment. But no.
All right. So we chatted a little bit last week about we're going to start trying to prep for tournaments a little bit more because we've mostly just playing super casual games lately. But because we were looking at going to other conventions and stuff, we wanted to start trying to get in practice mode. So getting our lists ready. Because, like, when we talked about going to Warfare Weekend, we were like, oh god, what would we even play? Like, I've just been playing dumb stuff. Like, I've been actively trying to not be super competitive lately. And so we said we're going to try and avoid playing the same thing, because that's kind of something that happens a bit at the store, because the new thing comes out and everybody wants to play it. So, Parker, why don't you talk about what you wanted to play? What you're kind of going to use as your competitive list.
So right now I've been staring pretty hard at Criminals, because I think they have a really interesting matchup into most things in the game. I also really like how they've got two different. Basically, you can go really hard Criminals, like all in on Criminals, and I probably will try that at some point. But I'm really liking what they could do with the hybridization, specifically with Spider Foes, because I think Spider Foes right now is keyed to do very well against Web Warriors. And so if somebody's trying really hard to do Web Warriors things, and they got their cool Web Warriors plan, they know exactly how they're going to beat it, and then you drop Spider Foes, it feels so good. And Criminals with Spider Foes, having some of the Spider Foes in Criminals also feels really good. Like, you're not upset taking things like Venom and Carnage in Criminals either. So that's the direction I've gone right now. I really like it. So far, I've played 2 games with it, and it felt really good. The first game with it, friend of the show, Connor, he was playing A-Force, and he accidentally, on purpose, put She-Hulk over the midline on turn 1 next to Carnage, Venom, and MODOK. And I at the I guess bottom of turn 1, remove She-Hulk from the board.
She didn't even make it to the last activation. I'm pretty sure Carnage just wandered around after she died.
No, Carnage attacked her once. Venom attacked her.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Carnage had attacked her once. Venom attacked her twice and threw a mail. No, Venom attacked her, had to move. So Venom had to move. Carnage had to move, but Venom threw a building at her. MODOK got to double tap her. And so not only did he move across the midline, he moved across the midline directly in front of MODOK. So he got to double tap her and throw a building at her.
She conveniently moved within a long maneuver tool of MODOK, which meant she took like 12 damage.
Yeah, it was
the first attack was super hot too, which was not good.
It was very, very quote unquote sad.
I know that Parker is currently listening to the podcast, so I don't know if he's going to keep doing that, but I assume he will. So I just want to say, Connor, if you French fry when you're supposed to pizza, you're going to have a bad time.
So he learned, and he wasn't upset about it. He was like, yeah, I mean, I was way too aggressive with it.
He took it in stride. Yeah. I was surprised. I would have fucking quit that game. That was so pointless. He was like down 6 points.
Yeah. He was he was a sport. He kept playing. And we actually played a little bit more, and we learned some more things about it. It was also my first game with the list, and so he was obliging there and letting me try it. Then my second game was against Jeremy, and we can talk about more what he's doing in a bit. But he played Web Warriors, and so I swung into Spider Foes, and it felt really good. Exactly what I thought would happen. A lot of size 3 stuff that they can't mess with, and I actually did not get to use Nemesis, even though I had 2 Nemesis on the board. I had Carnage for his Venom. I had Green Goblin for his Peter Parker, but they never interacted. But he had to. Very early in the game, I removed Venom before he could act. He never got to. He got to move to the center point, and I KO'd him dazed him on turn 1, and then knocked him out on my first activation on turn 2, and so Venom did not get to participate in the game at all. It would have been a very different game if he had gotten to participate. He just didn't get to. My dice blew up really hard, and my dice were normalized for the rest of the game, but they were way out of average on that first turn. That being said, one thing I've learned about Spider Foes, their new ability, it basically says always, almost always do 1 more damage, and that is excellent. Because what I've found is that the Spider Foes, like Venom and Carnage, Green Goblin, they really like having 1 more power than average after their basic attacks. Because that's one of the problems. Venom and Carnage, they can all get starved. Green Goblin can kind of get starved, not get to do all the things they want to do. But if you do 1 more damage, you go from doing 1 damage to 2, or 2 damage to 3, and now you're just cooking with gas. and they really start going to town and get to do all the things they want to do. So same thing's true for Lizard. Even like characters like Lizard who wants to do his throw, but usually normally he can't get power. Well, with this basic attack at range 3, he'll probably get 2 power. So it's actually it says have them reroll a die. What it actually should say is you usually do 1 more damage and you usually get 1 more power whenever you do an attack, unless you're using a spender. So it's very strong.
Really don't think they should have changed it to be free. I think that was a big overreach because people were sad.
Yeah.
It is better than adding an extra attack dice to your pool.
Mm. Another thing about
it is noticeably better, actually.
Another thing about spider foes is that all the spider foes have insane health on the front side. My list both times was 3 or 4 spider foes in MODOK, and it was 7 health, 7 health, 7 health, 10 health, 6 health with DR and regeneration. That's Lizard. And so it felt so good to start the game and you're just looking at so much health sitting on your side. They have to chew through so much to get the backside. Connor actually left Green Goblin on 1. He attacked him and left him on 1. And he says, "I mean, how much damage did I do?" I said, "Wow, you did great. You did 6 damage." And he goes, "Okay." And then he moved his character away. I didn't stop him because I actually thought he actually moved for a purpose. He actually did something with it. It was important, and he actually did some more stuff. And later he said, "Are you flipping Green Goblin?" I go, "No, he has 7 health." He goes, "Oh, what?" I was like, "Yeah, all of my characters have 7 or more health on the front side." He goes, "Oh, ugh." I was like, "Yeah." So it's one of the things about spider foes. One of the things I like about them is it's not really what you see is what you get, because you think, oh, I'm just going to play these characters together. They'll have the ability to reroll your defense die. You're like, no, it doesn't. You're going to play these characters together. They'll have more power than they normally have. They'll do more damage than they normally do. And it just so happens that all of these characters are size 3 medium bases and with ridiculous health. That's what actually
for a long
says.
time, all of their characters came alone in a box without another spider foe. They had 7 or more hit points. They cost 4 points. They were on a medium base, and they were size 3. That was like a rule of spider foes for 6 months.
Wow.
It was really strange.
So it's, and of course, also it can switch into criminals real fast now. And basically, all the 3-pointers and the only 2-pointer, which is Bullseye now, is criminals. So if you want to go smaller, you can go into criminals, or if you want to spread wide, or you want to just be a giant bully if you get the right scenarios and you want to do it. So. That's what I'm playing right now, and I have not got to the edge of this yet, so I'm going to keep playing it for a while.
Jeremy, what is the list that you're working on right now?
I mean, actually, I was enjoying X-Force quite a bit, but then after talking, we talked about it. Like, Spider Foes and X-Force are basically the same cut of the same jib. It kind of, one does it at range, one doesn't, whatever. So I kind of was like, well, I've never really played Web Warriors. It seems like they did a lot of re-rolls and shit and move things around. I don't know how you use pushes and pulls and things. So I decided to go with that, and that's kind of where I landed last. And it was interesting. I'm not sure that I love it. We'll see. Such a small sample size of games. I mean, like Parker said, we played a game, and some random shit happened. My favorite part of that game, or actually my favorite part of the games you're playing, the first model you name in every game now, your superhero of every game now, is MODOK. I remember Parker a little while back. I don't get what's going on with MODOK. He just never does anything to me. Welcome.
When your opponent rolls all blanks on their attack rolls, he's not very good.
My God in heaven. Like, getting Venom dazed from one attack and one item thrown at him was the most back-breaking shit that's happened in a long time. And then going without Venom the whole game because I couldn't roll good was pretty rough. So I didn't really get a good feel of it, but what I will say is what I was able to do was a lot, even though I had a handful of models. I was still scrambling and ducking and dodging and duck, dodge, dip.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Yep.
Yeah. American Dodgeball Association of America. That's what it felt like. What was cool, though, is they're able to do a lot, and I will tell you that list is also a beater list. Like, it will kick your ass, too. And I've been a part of the beatings quite a few times, and I've never experienced it on my own and been able to do that. But when they hit the go button, they've got some juice. It's pretty
They can
fun.
set up some nice combos.
But yeah,
Which is fun. It's weird because that's exactly how I think the Web Warriors would fight. Is they kind of are just elusive and they pick their spots, and the fact that they nailed that in their actual gameplay is really impressive. I think.
hmm
I feel like when I only played them the once, and obviously that's a horrible sample size, but I got so fucking sour that that didn't happen, that I just watched them all die, just get cleaved in twain. Ugh,
five health on your front relies a lot on making those rerolls count. Like, I didn't make any reroll saves. I made no saves in your game, Parker. Like, truly, I don't think I made anything more than one save on every third attempt. It was crazy. Peter Parker went down. Do you know how hard Peter Parker is to kill in Web Warriors? He's actually pretty goddamn hard to kill.
Mm.
In our game, he just melted.
I mean, it didn't hurt that he had MODOK and the Spider Foes affiliation, so he had a lot of negating abilities. But yeah, I watched most of that game, and it did not go well for you. But I rolled the math on the calculator, and it was a 10% chance for Venom to get dazed, and there was another 10% chance for him to get KO'd. And so it seemed very unlikely he should have died before attacking.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my whole goal was to like unleash holy hell after taking damage. And I'm like, ooh, accidentally got dazed. Interesting. Okay. Continue. And then I'm like, this can't happen twice. Fucking KO'd. I'm like, what?
You haven't played Parker enough, obviously.
I know, I forgot. I forgot. That's what I got.
I even yelled lifesaver, and you're like, nah, I'm good.
No,
I'm
I
like,
knew.
all right.
Yeah, I was fine. I don't need it. Okay, I guess I need it.
All right, so that just leaves me. I looked at the meta, and because we have determined that through the TTS League, the Sam Williams Avengers are the best Avengers and the best list. So I'm going to try and play some Avengers. I was trying to squeeze in some like beat 'em up list, and it just doesn't work because there's apparently when your list is 7 people, like you will suddenly run out of slots really fast.
Yeah, the only thing I could manage to do was with the last 3 slots, I did Cap, I did Cap, Ghost Rider, Hulk, just to have some other point value in there. But yeah, you pretty much have 3 slots at that list.
So here's the list I'm looking at. It is Sam, Luke Cage, War Machine, Iron Man, surprise. Then I have Ant-Man and Wasp, because I think that we have never given them a fair shake. I don't know that they'll stay in my list, but I'm going to give them a try, mainly because I like the interaction of the... Shut up. Shut your dumb face. Just shut your mouth. Just
I wish I had an actual Raz, like an actual whoopee cushion to blow.
But anyway, so the reason I want them in here is because they are fast models in the Sam list. And so they can be the models that close the gap before everybody else. And if my opponent is killing them and triggering the leadership on other people, that's good for me. And so if they try to ignore them and go for the other people, they're mobile and fast, and they can get in there and be really annoying to their backline or get to objectives on the far side of the map. That's primarily why they're in here. I think they're actually going to add stuff in ways other than just being Ant-Man and Wasp. But if I end up not liking them, they immediately get pulled for other stuff. Continuing on, I've got Black Cat, Punisher, Bob, Agent of Hydra / Shield, and Black Panther. So Black Panther being that I didn't want to put a second 2-pointer in the list because I felt that would leave me no options if we actually played high points. Bob is obviously a great 2-pointer. He repeatedly gets dazed without dying, and so he triggers the leadership more often. Punisher gets bonuses when people die, which is cool. And then Black Cat's obviously just amazing. So the whole list is basically meat on the bone. Tactics cards, I didn't really know what to do here. I threw in Ricochet Blast because it just got buffed and technically works with Sam. And so I was like, well, that's cool. So that way if I need a big hit, I have it. And then I've got, obviously, Heroes for Hire, Avengers Assemble, Disarm, Blind Obsession, Face Me, because I don't really care if you hit somebody. And then Medpack Field Dressing, which is probably questionable. I should probably have, what's it called? Bitter Rivals instead of Medpack. But I think Medpac's okay because I have 3 people with damage reduction, and so they can actually survive a few hits.
Luke Cage is
and I
usually a
haven't
good one for that. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And then I've got 2 slots left I haven't picked yet. Missions, I have Spider Infected Invade Manhattan, Struggle for the Cube, Research Station. I figured out that almost all of the extracts in the game are single objective extracts, which really annoyed me. I did not realize there was only like 4 that had multiple objectives. And then we have Sword Base, Gamma Wave, and Portals. And Gamma Wave might be a mistake, but I didn't want to play Terrigen. But Terrigen's probably fine, the more I think about it.
No, I actually think you're right. I think Gamma's the move because you can move onto their back when people die.
Yeah, I out-activate them and I outmaneuver them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That was my thought, but I was thinking also if I get paired against something weird, I don't know, like it could go bad. But yeah, I'm wanting to try this. I think it'll be fun, and then I'll learn a lot from playing it because I've only played against hybrid Sam lists. Really, I haven't played against the true Sam list, and then I've never played with it. So I think I'm going to learn a lot in a couple games, and then I'll make some adjustments.
I will say you use the word fun to describe it. I don't know if it will be fun. I think it will be effective.
I find my opponent's rage very entertaining.
Actually, that's when we were talking about it the other day when you were describing your interest in it. I said I think you will like it a lot because you don't mind like just moving models around and watching nothing happen.
You got to make the bread, bro.
Yeah,
you got to just grind their bones to dust and make bread.
You're totally fine with. I'm just going to put a model right here. It will not be dynamic. It will not be interesting. It will not be anything special. It will just stand here. And you're totally fine with that. And man, I really struggle with that. I wanted to do a thing.
Well,
so
it's filled with a lot of strength 5 attacks. So you're just doing that on top of that, except you will never basically have to deal with being shocked or stunned or any of that crap because you just get rid of it. There's just so many things that it does, and it's so efficient. Or you get days. Who gives a shit? Like you have another guy.
Somebody else removes stunned.
When you have 6 of them, like who cares? Like 6 or 7.
I don't think it's okay that there's 3 3-point Avengers with damage reduction.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of the problem here. And they all have physical 4. Like, it's so hard to bring down those 3 idiots.
Yep.
And then you also have Sam running around who's hard to bring down. And then I think the Pimtech guys have rerolls on defense as well.
They do.
Nothing in this list actually is easy to kill. Black Hat has stealth. And you can't mod your dice against her, right? Or you don't get crits. What is it?
You cannot
mods.
Cannot mod your dice when attacking.
She's got bad luck.
Bob is literally unkillable. Black Panther has blanks and vibranium armor. And then Punisher is just Punisher who randomly survives all attacks.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. The only one I don't like for Quicksilver is Punisher. I think Punisher should be Quicksilver in a New York second. It's so strong.
I do not think that's a terrible idea. I was just thinking at the time I already have Black Cat, so if there's a single extract mission, I'm already playing Black Cat, and I don't think I need both of them. I also am only playing... most of the missions I'm playing have multiple extracts, so I don't really care. It's only if they pick Alien Ship or something like that, I even bring Black Cat in. I actually want to play Attrition, so Black Cat's staying out unless I need her. And so in that vein, I was thinking with all these people getting dazed, because I'm going to feed Ant-Man Wasp with the fucking death cannons. And so it's like, oh, they'll just have a Punisher with 2 punishment tokens, and he'll just headshot some people, and it'll be fine. And so it may be better as Quicksilver. I think you might be right, but I want to try Punisher, because it seems fun.
Do you have Lizard in that list?
I had him in, and I had to cut him for Black Panther, because I had too many. I had no even point model other than Bob. And so I cut him for that. If I end up cutting Ant-Man and Wasp, which I think is a possibility, I'm immediately bringing in Lizard and Quicksilver. That's plan A. And then we'll look at it again from there. So if that's your guys' suggestions, I've already looked at that, and I think that they're good, valid points. Is there anything else I missed?
I actually wondered if... oh no, you were making good valid points, and I was following you. I was following your line of reasoning there, and oh man, I lost it. I had a really good thing. I was like, what about... Oh, crap. Oh, I think one of the things that I don't do, and every once in a while I look at him again, I was like, oh yeah, he just got a brand new card, and he's much stronger than he was before. Why don't I think about this guy? Is Winter Soldier strong in that list? I think he might be. Talking about attrition, like he's just going to be rolling lots of assault rifle attacks from wave...
That's not terrible. I like that, actually.
He also gets to bounce over friendly characters that are hanging around him.
Yeah,
And
I didn't even consider him.
also, when allies are dazed and KO'd, he immediately gets to that
would also allow you to play the till the end of the line card.
You can with Sam. I
He
actually
does
think
have bleed on
I'm
his
gonna
gun,
put him
too,
on the
so he's legit.
also, because Got Your Back, he can immediately move, heal one, or lose a thing, and then, with the Sam ability, he can move, then Got Your Back, if for some reason somebody isn't within range.
That's
5.
true. He can move into range, and then what's got your it says specifically assault rifle. Okay, so you can't pay for Red Fury and then also make an assault rifle attack.
But you do make an assault rifle attack, which will have rapid fire. It does have bleed on their turn.
And with Hydra Tactics, you can get within range 1 of Sam really easily.
Yes.
To play till the end of the line.
Yes. I actually think Bucky is a really good choice for the Sam spam list right now.
I think you're right. I think I'm going to put that on the short list. I have to do the Pimtech thing just because once I do it, I can say, okay, this was not as good as I was hoping, or it's as bad as we thought, and then we can just throw the models away. But I have to do it. Like, I have to do it once. I could cut Punisher for Bucky. That would be okay.
That was actually another suggestion for Punisher. Is I wonder if Bucky is just actually better than Punisher in exactly that list because he does something very similar, just perhaps more often.
I wanted to start with not the pure stat list because I know the pure stat list is good because it just outnumbers you, and I have a lot of experience with that kind of list. I wanted to try the finesse version first with Black Cat, Wasp, and Ant-Man, maybe even Punisher, and see what it looks like on the table and if you can make it work. And if I couldn't find anything there, I was going to scrap it. Okay, so it's Quicksilver, Bucky, and Lizard are the 3 swap outs for those 3. And then obviously, I was tempted to try Blood Red and Personal, which is not a good card. I'm not going to pretend it is. During the power phase, an ally Punisher may spend 4 reactive. Each time an enemy character is KO'd this round, you receive 1 victory point. I was just thinking that could be a cute way to get ahead on points or finish up a round early. Because if you don't even if they're winning, if it's 15-14 and they have all the objectives, it doesn't matter if you kill 2 people because you just get to 16 mid-turn and the game ends. Because a lot of people don't realize that as soon as the number hits 16, the game ends. That was why Evacuation Efforts got banned. Because they're mid-turn, you'd fucking win the game. They're what? But I have more points than you. It's well, you would have if we got to the end of the turn. It's fuck you. I almost tried to put in Wakandan herbs into this.
Yeah.
What's your guys' thought on that? Do you think my extracts are better than that?
Are you because you think you can actually score it, or because you don't want to have to play extract?
I think I could. Well, if we get to the point where we actually try and score it, I think I have an advantage because I just outnumber people. But yeah, I don't know. And Sam's so fucking fast.
I was gonna say, actually, if you're doing that, I think Quicksilver is a premium. Quicksilver is also another one that can get to that point and actually do something with it.
Yeah, I mean, I like Quicksilver, but why? How is he better than Sam at it?
Better than Sam at it because he moves further with his speed long, and if he baps somebody once, if he gets the dice, he'll actually move with that as well. He can move pretty darn far.
That's true. He can do that.
He did it to me. It was horseshit.
Yeah, I did it to Jeremy.
All right.
It was a thing. If you're interested in playing, if you want to play that, herbs, I think.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
I'm glad I didn't put it in for right now.
I mean, yeah, Wakanda can also be a dead scenario like we've talked about a million times, which is okay sometimes.
Yeah, but not what I want. I want it to score. If I was running Ghost Rider, I'd probably do it, but I'm not.
Yeah. Ghost Rider or Lockjaw, but you don't have the space for either of them, I think.
Yeah, and I don't think I'd want to play them.
Man, really, Ghost Rider might be some amazing tech for that list, though.
Ghost Rider.
That's what we ended on before the update. That's what Parker was looking at. We were looking at Ghost Rider, and I think he's good, but I think losing 2 of the characters takes a lot of the bite out of the list.
Also, whenever you're at most point values, you don't want to lose, you don't want to lose 2 bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Or you're talking about? I thought you're talking about You're talking about roster. You're not talking about roster like construction. You're talking about like actual going down the board losing 2 characters.
Yeah.
Because you really lose 1 body then. Usually, you're not losing.
Yeah,
2.
you're shrinking into 1 body. It also makes it harder at weird point totals because even though it's 5 points either way, but like I don't know, it falls at weird points sometimes. I think if you're building Ghost Rider, you're building the Ghost Rider version, and that's different than the normal version. I think you take different characters. I don't know. There's a lot of different variations of this list, and so this is going to be one list I actually tinker with. Where normally when I build a roster, it basically doesn't change because it either has what I want or it doesn't have what I want, and I basically always play like the same 5 characters. This, once you get it where you want it, you can start altering things, which will change the way it plays.
Well, there's so many fucking Avengers, and then
well, I would add. There's one more Avenger that I would add on your short list, and that's Vision.
Okay.
Vision is fucking amazing in that
Vision
list.
over Black Panther?
It depends what you're doing. I mean, if you're going for attrition, Vision. Being able to move and beam and throw, like he has such good shit for what he does. We just don't see him around here, but he's kind of crazy.
I like Vision. I think Black Panther's a little better because I don't really abuse the power generation in any way. I don't know. I've had a lot of bad experiences with Vision.
Yeah.
I know he's good and I like him, but there's a lot of characters that can get around his phasing in really easy ways.
Well, he's got a cheap throw, which you
his
struggle.
throw is amazing.
You struggle with that in Sam. You don't have good throws in there at all.
Well, you didn't, but Iron Man's there now. He can actually bop people off, right? He doesn't.
With a
he doesn't
wild.
throw. Is it a wild?
He can push. He pushes on
It's
the
a
wild.
push on a wild.
Yeah.
So it's not.
But-
yeah.
Luke can throw.
Luke can throw. So I think this is a decent scenario list because between Black Panther, Black Cat, Iron Man, Luke Cage, like Sam's fast, the Pimtech guys are fast. I think there's a lot of options here for scenario play, which is what I want to really try and push. I'm worried that the cubes mission is going to be bad for me, but I think it's going to be surprisingly not bad because of the amount of random healing I'm going to get is going to make up for a lot of the cube damage, and I'll just outlive my opponent to hold those cubes.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Here's an interesting Avenger. I don't know if he's ever put into this conversation, but he does have 4 physical defense. He's got 11 total health and a throw, even though it's only size 2. Beast.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot he was an Avenger. I think looked at him, but I just thought there was better 3-pointers.
I know you got both of you guys have played him a lot more than I have, so you could
Lizard is better in
I
the
think-
circumstance.
Yeah, exactly. Lizard's
Yes.
better. He has a weakness to energy, which is really not good.
Yeah.
Because you don't really... The 4 physical defense is making a minor difference without, like, damage reduction. He does have some rerolls on defense, which is nice.
Right. He has 4 with the rerolls, which is worth a bit.
Yeah, but I don't know how much power he ends up with. Every time I saw him played, I was like, man, Beast is great. And then if you ever see an energy attacker, he just disappears. Because the rerolls is not enough on 2 dice, and he doesn't do enough damage to kill people fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Another
He's
character.
interesting.
Another character that's a lot more brawly and interesting once you start to play him is Moon Knight. I think he might actually make. I don't know if but he's definitely not a stand there and take a lot of damage character, but he is going to be. I think he puts out a lot of stuff for 3 points.
Well, he's range 4 with stealth. He can go in any list.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he breaks one of the cardinal rules of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He can attack you where you can't attack him back.
Right.
He's rapid fire on that weapon, which is just silly.
Yep.
He's not an Avenger, though, right?
No, but Jeremy, he is a web warrior. Would you ever play him in Web Warriors?
Absolutely. I just don't have him painted.
You just don't have him. I see. That's why he wasn't.
Yes, he's going in the list for certain.
Okay.
He's a 3-pointer that just beats ass. He's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I'm unsure that Moon Knight is okay. Like his random.
He seems very overtuned.
Yeah, like his random ability to suddenly be throwing a rapid fire weapon that's way too strong for his point level, being able to get movement, his what is it called? His staff attack is just crazy.
Yes, both staff has stagger and rerolling number of dice.
Yeah, it's just silly.
And you have a 3 in 8 chance of getting a 6 dice attack with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got a bear. He's Batman. He's Batman. He's a badass.
Which is cool. Yeah, he's on my shelf. He's in the painting chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's what I've been looking at. Yeah, Moon Knight definitely seems good. All right, so hobby projects. It sounds like we're all just getting the most recent stuff painted, or assembled at least. Jeremy's almost back to fully painted. I definitely want to get a list hammered out and get it painted, like Parker was talking about.
Yeah, that's my goal. Is I want to one character right now that I have to go back to because he's partially disassembled is that I'm thinking about for criminals is Omega Red. He's my weird dark horse that I want to try to put into criminals because he is a criminal. And I think he might be really good.
What laws did he break? Why is he a criminal?
Well, he's a mercenary. Like that's kind of
he literally kills people.
Yeah, he kills. He's an assassin. He kills people for money, and he does
allegedly.
Does odd jobs and shit like that. Like he's an odd job kind of guy.
Pretty sure he tried to steal multiple nuclear devices.
Yeah, he's a contract killer basically. He's
definitely someone Dr. Evil would hire and get murdered by.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Jeremy, just out of curiosity, because Brandon and I were staring at him for a while, and we wondered this guy might be really good for criminals. Do you think Omega Red's got legs? I mean, he has legs and 2 tentacles.
He literally has legs, but does he have legs?
Does he have legs for criminals?
I'm not sure. I'm still.
So hitting the finer points, he is a 6 health on both sides, 3, 3, 4, size 3, speed short, 4 points. He has the standard tentacle attack, range 3, 5 dice, gain power equal to damage. But he has drain life. After the attack is resolved, if the attack dealt damage, he heals 1. And his spender is Red Terror, cost 4, also range 3, 7 dice. You can choose energy or physical as your damage type, and then absorb essence on wilds. Change one of the defender's criticals, wilds, or blocks to a skull, so it gets through martial artist. And this character gains 1 power for each dice change this way. So it works on multiple rolls. Death Factor is a cost 2 active power. This character and enemies within 2 that are suffering poison take 2 damage in an order of your choosing, so he dies last. Ensnare, which is literally web snare on Venom, exactly verbatim. Carbonadium Armor is damage reduction, passive, reduced to minimum of 1. And finally, as Death Spores. Enemy characters that end their activation within 2 of him gain poison, and when he ends an activation within 2 of an enemy, they gain poison. He is immune to poison.
He seems like
he's like a weird Venom, like Crossbones hybrid. I don't know.
I think your problem runs into the fact that he's 4 points, and the best criminal list is the wide criminal list. I mean, Bodies is better.
That's true.
Bodies is just better, man.
Yeah, he has damage reduction and passive, and like his own healing mechanic, which seems good. And he has a way to move people that's very consistent. And he poisons people. So if you're doing like the old Asgard strategy of like, I'll just not give you a bunch of power by not attacking you, he literally gives them poison automatically.
Yeah.
Without doing anything. He just gives poison.
Yeah, he does
out.
the good version.
Yeah. And so he's like, I'll just stand here. You gain poison. You're like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, Omega Red went first, moved to the middle point. Then you went and contested the middle point. Now you have poison. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, you never have power for the rest of the game unless you shake poison. You're like, fuck me. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's really
also,
it's really
also
annoying.
They have to attack, if they only can attack or want to attack him, he's going to be reducing the amount of power they get by 1.
Yeah.
And
he just starves people.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I was staring, he does have Ensnare, right? So he can pull people off of points. We love Ensnare. And there was one other thing that we talked about. Some weird. He loves the chimichanga. Like he really likes the chimichanga. That's a lot of
chimichanga. He can web snare every turn, and then he heals 1 and gets to attack twice. And then he could potentially heal 3 damage a turn, and ensnare and attack twice. And then if that train gets going, it's going to be real hard to stop. Now, I don't know if it gets going, but it's going to be hard to stop.
Yeah.
So your criminal base is Kingpin, him,
Black
and
Cat,
MODOK.
Bullseye. Oh, you think you go that route?
I mean,
I don't think you take MODOK.
Okay, so then we're saying he takes the spot of MODOK?
No, you take the spot of probably Black Cat if you're not playing an extract mission.
Mm-hmm.
He's just hard to fit in there. That's why I think he's probably great.
Well, he's basically just Venom. He's replacing Venom is what he's replacing.
Yeah.
But he's an affiliated Venom. And so the list we were talking about is what if you took Venom and Omega Red and Bullseye and Kingpin? Because that's 12, 14 points for those four models.
Uh-huh.
That's real annoying to deal with. And if you're playing 18, you can bring in, like, I don't know, Sabretooth? And so now it's Sabretooth, Omega Red, Venom, Kingpin, and Bullseye. That's a lot. And keep in mind, he has an auto damage ability, and now Bullseye is the auto damage master guy. And so you just point at somebody and they take 4 damage.
Mm-hmm. I don't hate it. It's interesting. I'm always
and
about interesting.
Yeah. You have 2 people that retaliatory strike as well, which is always good. I think there's something there. I don't know if it's great, but I think there's something there.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know if you go. He is also in Cabal, so if you want to do the Sabretooth like idea, you could go to you could do a drop in somebody like Red Skull, and we were talking earlier about how Red Skull can actually move somebody back. He's not a bad criminal, and you could also switch into Cabal if you wanted to for some reason. But it's interesting.
I love the model. I love the idea of him.
Yeah. My head is agog with criminals right now. There's so many things they do. I like them all.
I think that's worth putting on the table. It feels, the thing we were talking about, the story, it felt like our old Bully Boys list where it was Ronin and Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 10 points, but it was like, God, they put so many debuffs on you. They was just like, what do you do? It's like, all my shit's broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the same thing. It's like everyone's poisoned and bleeding. And it's like, well, if you're poisoned and bleeding, that's not good because you're taking damage and you have no power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to see someone play that. I might even throw it together if nobody else wants to. But Parker's playing Criminals, so it's his job.
I'm gonna put Omega Red in Criminals. I'm gonna try it out. We're gonna see.
Okay. Alrighty. Should we do a Daily Bugle segment where Parker bets episodes on stuff? That seems to be pretty popular lately.
What do you think? We can't do that every time, can we? Can we milk? Are we just gonna?
Here, wait a second. Whatisillegal.com. Yeah, we can do it. Guys, I went to virus.com and it says I have network connectivity issues.
You better download something as fast as you can.
I have something on my computer. It's not working very well, but luckily some
working.
guy called my house and I paid him money to fix it. He's going to come out. He's going to fix it tomorrow.
No. I mailed him a bunch of iTunes gift cards. He's going to mail me the fix.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God.
All right, so Parker,
Mm-hmm.
who won season 6 of TTS?
Captain Sam.
You have to
we
say
gotta get him to bet first.
Captain
God, you
Sam,
messed it up.
sir.
Who is Captain Sam?
Thank you. Yes, that's the correct answer. You wagered all of it.
5 ducats. I got
5
no
ducats. Congrats.
Oh boy.
I could do a Comic Corner. I haven't done one of those in a million years.
Yeah, I know we're gonna get there. I don't know. I feel like I want to touch back on Colossus just a bit because we had his panel to play this week.
Uh-huh.
I think this guy is going to be underrated. I think he's better than people think he is.
Why?
I know it doesn't look impressive. Like, I'm not, like, we talked about this a little bit last week because we had his card then. Yeah, he's not, like, scary good, but I feel like he's going to be like Ronin, where it's a better sum of its parts than it looks like it is. Like, it just seems to work. Like, you see it happen, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, I get it. That works. He's surprisingly hard to kill. Like, very hard to kill. This guy, and even if he doesn't see play in X-Men, because X-Men are hot garbage, like, he'll probably see play in other lists. I wonder if he'll be an Avenger. Oh my God. Can you imagine if this guy was an Avenger?
I mean, they made Deadpool an Avenger. I would say absolutely not, but they made Cable and Deadpool an Avenger. I will say this. You made a comment there that X-Men is hot garbage. Is Hexman still hot garbage when Magic comes out with him? If it's Gambit, Rogue, Magic, Colossus. If they're all out,
so if
are
the
they still
list
hot garbage?
is Storm, Magic, Gambit, Rogue, Colossus, how many points is that? That's 4, 8 plus 9, 17. That seems fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're just hot garbage right now. But I mean, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get. I guess we could get Colossus the same time as Gambit and Rogue.
I think it's likely.
I
isn't
just
it?
always assumed that Colossus would be first
Oh, I thought that
because he was on the X-Force spoiler.
Mm-hmm. Now, I actually think that X-Force is going to like them. I know X-Force is not a huge powerhouse, but I love X-Force, and I think X-Force is going to like him. I think it's going to like him a lot, actually. I think.
Really, you think it's worth giving up a damager for a defensive piece?
Because
I always thought that was the whole point of X-Force. They don't play defense.
I will say this: after playing him a fair amount, I feel like giving Wolverine the proactive, the tossing Wolverine, that is the source of damage, and it's proactively getting Wolverine in there, and he going and standing at a point and making it difficult to eliminate Wolverine or difficult to eliminate Domino is going to do more than what Sabretooth does right now. Because what I found at 4 points, what Sabretooth does is stand there and whiff a whole bunch unless I get particularly lucky, which can happen, or they decide for some reason to attack him. Because he kind of is immune until they can just completely overwhelm him.
I don't know, man. Trading a speed longer for a speed shorter does not seem like a great way to maintain success.
I also think the way new scenarios work, I think Colossus is a better drop on like an E scenario. That E's the one in the middle, right? I think he's better in an E. If you have a B scenario, or a C, then I think Sabretooth is going to be a great pull because he can just go out there and be if he's not up against a 5-pointer or a 6-pointer or something nonsensical, he's going to be untouchable. People were just literally not going to touch him. They're just going to go, nope, I'm going to go somewhere else. So Sabretooth is great for that scenario, and Colossus is less strong because he wants to bunch up. But man, as soon as you get an E, and Colossus and Wolverine in the middle, he's able to throw Wolverine and stand there and be let Domino be in the middle of things, because Domino actually wrecks things, but she wrecks things at range 3. And so she's got to get pretty close to stuff, and she's defensive-ish, but mostly just folds. So when Colossus is right next to...
I see what you're talking about. I don't know. I think it's kind of like takes away the teeth from the list when you're dropping 4 points of damage. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Well, here's the thing. Sabretooth has Pierce and Bleed on a wild. I totally get it. When he rolls a wild, he feels great. But if he doesn't roll a wild on his 5 dice, and your opponent is almost never going to oblige damage on him, or else if your opponent's attacking Sabretooth, going, I'm going to attack Sabretooth like I attack all the other characters in the game, then you've won because they're also an idiot.
I think that part of it is that you're supposed to leverage him in a way that kind of doesn't give them a choice.
Yeah, I get it. But I think Colossus, there are... And maybe I'm playing Sabretooth wrong, but in the past, what Sabretooth has ended up doing is being on a flank, because Wolverine's so good at just running straight down the middle. Sabretooth's been on a flank because I know he could long move into the fight at a moment's notice, and he's been there just holding down a point and completely wrecking the 3-pointer that was sent against him, all the skirmisher types in the game. And he's really, really good at that. But if I don't have that need, I don't think he's as good at being in the middle of the board as Colossus will be. I think Colossus might even do more damage than he does over the course of a game, because he won't just get backslapped.
You got to put Colossus in Sam Spam. Jesus Christ. That would be the most annoying shit ever.
I don't know how you kill him.
I don't either.
He is identical to Luke Cage, except he has 2 more hit points and Vibranium Shield.
Yeah.
He has 2 more hit points and Vibranium Shield. It's like, what the fuck? This guy is going to be impossible to bring down.
Mm-hmm.
And he's another bodyguard floating in there, making you redirect everything. He can move, shake stuff. He's actually, he can be in that list. Hell, he can be an A-Force. Why not? Like, have another bodyguard. That's the worst part about A-Force. Spread all the damage out, put the power where you want it. I mean,
I think he's got something going. He seems like the new version of Black Dwarf after they learned to design models.
oh yeah, he's yeah, he'll do. A bodyguard that actually survives is something we haven't really seen, right? Like Black
Not
Dwarf.
since Sam, and Sam kind of got quit getting played. Not Sam, Steve.
Yeah, Steve. So this guy is the new version of that. There's something there. I mean, he's a bodyguard that can continuously bodyguard forever.
He can potentially run out of power eventually, which is why in Avengers it gets so much more frustrating. If you had like this guy and Captain America,
Well, then
you could just do whatever you wanted.
but you're never gonna do any damage either. Like that's you're buying Cap twice. I think 8 points in
mean,
Captain America.
He doesn't exactly do less damage than your average 4-pointer. He has a throw, and he has a 5 dice attack and a 7 dice attack.
But that's not
The only
that's not the
negative
point
is
of
that
him.
he's slow.
That's not the point of him. You can spend. I think you spend 4 points in Avengers to do some damage because you already spent 4 points in Avengers to keep your guys alive and support them. I think you spend 5. I think you spend 4 points in Avengers to do damage. That's what you do. Or you're gonna see yourself
I think
whiffing.
the rest of your list is just glass cannon damage because you have the 2 best bodyguards in the game. Like, who the fuck do you? Why do you care if they attack you?
If you want to keep Carnage alive, you could do that.
Yeah, Carnage, Domino, even like Zemo would be good in there too.
There's any sort of no. I mean, he'll make everyone good. So if you want someone alive, he can.
That's
make it
only 8 points.
What is only 8 points?
That Colossus and Cap.
Only 8 points. I think you.
It's not nothing, but I mean that's a lot to chew through for 8 points. That's 8 points that will be there on turn 4.
Yes, but again, what are they doing to your opponent? They're not. You can buy. They're not a premium damage model, and I get your point that you could probably play other premium damage models and hope that works. But
Ooh, Scarlet Witch, she's affiliated.
and we also talked about it many times. As soon as you move him out of the way, just move him out of the way. There's tons of ways to just move him out of the way. He doesn't have the ability to come back into the fight.
I mean, if he's in Avengers, he can Avengers assemble.
Once, sure, cool. How many times is
And
that?
then,
how
then
many
you
times?
move him away again, then he activates and moves
How many
back.
times have we talked about how like the fact that Cap got a meaningful power generation on his shield throw?
No, yeah, it's big.
Is huge because he spends so much of his time moving once and not being in range. So Colossus will move once and not be in range of anything ever. He's so much worse than Luke because Luke actually moves forward and is in range to do all the stuff he does and still bodyguard because he has the opposite. He has the protector, right? Or is that the name of it? So I actually don't think the Luke and Colossus comparison is apt because Luke will actually throw things and do Sweet Christmas like 2 or 3 times a game. But I think Colossus will actually not do his 5 dice attack very often. I don't think he'll actually do much. I think you'll be amazed how much Colossus will not be attacking unless he's bodyguarding somebody who's also in the mix. That's why I don't mind him in X-Force because Wolverine is going to be up there, and so Colossus is going to be up there with him.
Well, Colossus is also size 3. There's a lot less stuff that can move the size 3 guy.
No, you're right. You're right. That's. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's bad. I do think it would be a bad idea to spend 8 points on 2 Captain Americas. I think that's incorrect. But
All I can think right now is how much I hate fucking Wolverine, and I wish he would just go away.
I remember when you're like, that guy is trash.
He's
And I
still
was like,
trash.
no, I think he's good. He's still trash. He's
still
just
trash.
He's just trash I don't want.
Do not want trash.
All right, Parker, why don't you hit us with a comic corner?
so, speaking of Wolverine, I did a comic entirely about Wolverine.
I love Wolverine.
I know you do. I actually kind of amazed. When I pulled this off my shelf, I had to look back at the comic corner list and go, surely I talked about this one. This is kind of like a seminal event. Everybody, I don't know if anybody who ever read this comic who didn't thought it was just a great fun read. And that's Wolverine Old Man Logan, which is the inspiration for the last Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie, where he's an older guy and the world has changed a lot, and the mutants aren't the thing that they were kind of a evolutionary blip that faded in and out. But he discovers Laura and all that stuff. That was very much an adaptation of several different characters and stories put together. But the inspiration for an older Logan who's trying to kind of leave the superhero path behind was from this comic, written by Mark Millar. Mick Niven does the art for it. It's a great story. The way that it does differ a lot from the last Wolverine movie. Old Man, was it just Logan was the name of that movie, right? Just Logan.
It's just called Logan.
Yeah, Old Man Logan differentiates from Logan because it starts off that basically the Red Skull decided one day their super villains outnumber superheroes like 400 to 1 because each superhero has a menagerie of villains, right? And so what if he just got all of them organized to just beat the superheroes? And so rather than send, Mysterio after Spider-Man, he sends Mysterio after Logan. And how would Mysterio fuck with Logan? Well, he would make an elaborate illusion for Logan to go apeshit on his friends. And so basically Logan killed all the X-Men due to an elaborate illusion by Mysterio. And that broke him. Like, it totally broke his spirit. He refused to pop his claws anymore. And the Red Skull's ploy works like this against every Marvel hero, and the supervillains win. So the story takes place years after this. Logan is living in the blasted lands of California, and one of the only groups that made it through that area of irradiated wasteland are the Hulk and his descendants. Favorite thing about this, the Hulk gang is a group of inbred hicks, because to put it from Bruce Banner's lips himself, everybody wondered why I had sex with my own cousin. She's the only one who could take the damn pace. And so he basically makes an inbred clan of Hulk children that can only mate with themselves because they're the only ones who can handle being mated with the Hulk, apparently. And they're
what top-notch writing.
Yeah. So Wolverine runs afoul of the Hulk gang because he can't meet rent, and who comes along with the awesome opportunity but Hawkeye, who is an old blind man at this point. It says, I can't get all the way to New York City by myself. I need to get all the way from California to New York for this mission, and can you tag along, Logan? And Logan says, I'm not going to kill anybody, I'm not going to be a superhero, but I can drive the car. So you follow Logan and Hawkeye through the post-apocalyptic supervillain controlled America, and you find out about his story and about Hawkeye's story, and meet this menagerie of people who live in this world, and of course, comic book story ensues. So it's a lot of fun. It's a really good read. It's a what if type read. So if you like that kind of story, it's definitely one of those. It also introduced Old Man Logan as a character, and people love this book so much, and Mark Millar's version of this Logan so much, they actually gave him a reason. He basically jumps dimensions / time and comes into the main Marvel universe. And he was an X-Man for a while when the primary Marvel time Wolverine was dead. They killed him off for, I don't know, 8 months that they feel they have to let a character actually die before they bring him back to life. So yeah, if you ever saw an older Logan in an X-Men comic or a cover, and you're like, what the hell is this? And they're like, this guy, Old Man Logan. So check out Wolverine, Old Man Logan. It's its own self-contained story. It's a fun read.
Cool. All right. I know I've heard a ton of people reference that book, and so when you got to the Hulk part, I'm like, why do people read this? But sounds like that's a very small subsection of the book.
Oh yeah, it's a very tiny thing. There's lots of little quirky stuff like that and they try to address in little bitty ways, a lot of the different characters and things about the Marvel universe that would change if this kind of thing actually happened. My favorite character in it is definitely the Red Skull, because you get to meet him and he talks a little bit about how he did it, and what would a megalomaniac fascist who's super obsessed with beating someone be like if he actually won? The romanticized version is he'd be this kind of morose, like despondent character, right? Like I beat my hero. No, the Red Skull fucking loves it. Like he is living his best life. He feels great about murdering Captain America with his bare hands and ruining everything he loved and dreamed about. It's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone should dream of being able to do that to their enemies, so it's great. It's a really fun read.
Cool. Oh boy. Well, I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up for us. Did you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
I don't want to play Parker anymore. I'm done with that.
Don't want to play Parker.
No.
You're tired of all this bullshit?
Yeah.
All I do is play games and roll dice, but it is bullshit.
Your dice are going to have to be officially sent to Vegas and checked because I'm fucking done.
Well, I mean, we could just float them.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't. After playing it, but I had 2 games in a row that were really bad. But I have not had whole games for a while. Like that one when I was playing Guardians and like every dice. I haven't had anything like that in a while. I think that one was just extraordinary.
Well, I mean, they're basically made by the same people who make the X-Wing dice. And you remember that article you read about that guy who said the single greatest thing you can do to gain an advantage in X-Wing is buy new dice.
Mm-hmm. If you find
he had a 30-page fucking like thesis about all the research he did and everything.
Yeah. Oh, I'm confident that my dice are not perfectly probable. I just don't know.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of the articles that none of them are. Like you don't understand the quantity in which these are made to be made affordable.
Yeah.
Like, there's no quality control on these things. And because you have to use the original dice because they're custom, they're not like standard dice like D8s.
Right.
You pretty much have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the guy did like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of rolls with different sets of dice.
Mm-hmm.
He built a machine that would use webcams to roll the dice down like these dice ramps and then take pictures of the results and then just repeat the process over and over again. And they would just compile the data in a spreadsheet. And he's like, the variance between one set to another could be within like one deviation, could be off by like as much as like 5 to 6% on results. And he's like, that is better than like the average person's tournament results.
Yeah. I can tell you that I was a big fan of the Star Wars X-Wing tournament dice. They had awesome price support for X-Wing. And so they had these really cool tournament dice, and I had this set that I earned myself. I won a store championship, and I got a set of sparkly dice. And man, these sparkly dice, I felt like they rolled so well. I really enjoyed rolling these sparkly dice. But I couldn't tell if they were actually rolling well, just that I love the dice. And so I went to another store championship after that, and I won and I won some other dice, and they were like smoky. They're like dark and smoky, and I really loved the look of those. I thought they looked much cooler than the sparkly ones. And so I rolled them for about 6 months, and I actually put them away, as much as I loved the look of them, because I felt like I was losing because of the dice. I felt like I was actually losing more games than I won because those dice were not performing as well as the sparkly ones. So I believe it. I believe it. I feel like you have enough. You get a feel for if your dice are actually affecting your game, and I think they were. I have a really strong opinion that they were. And
I know that a lot of people are gonna have this like paranoia aspect where like, oh man, my dice are screwing me. It's like, even if like the amounts we're talking about are like, God, it's like 1 in 20 rolls will be worse than it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like those are the percentages we're talking about. So don't think it's like, oh, I blanked out, it's the dice. Like that's just random chance.
No.
It's like we're talking the difference of the die falling to a different side because of it's poorly weighted. Like even in the most egregious situations, it's still a very slight misweighting.
Right.
And so people thinking that it's like, oh yeah, you just roll hits every time. It's like, no, that's not what it means.
That's
like,
not what it is.
It's a return. It's like a huge length of returns on this stuff.
It's like climate versus weather. People go, oh, it's hot outside today. That must mean there's global warming. Like, no, it doesn't. It's just this is the one day. You have to look at this really long trend, extremely long trend.
Yeah.
You can't just look at this one thing.
I will say, like, the good thing about Marvel Crisis and rolling dice and stuff is usually there's enough dice rolls where it swings both evenly. Usually, usually, if it starts out terrible for you, it usually will go better somewhere else. Like, it's fine most of the time, unless you're playing.
It's pretty
Parker.
rare. Yeah.
You say that, but Spider-Man just went up and you had a turn in which you dazed all my guys. I just did it first, and I think that's the thing about MCP. Actually, the thing I was going to say is when you have a low model count like MCP, whoever does that kind of spike first can feel like they're a huge advantage.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. Is the dice do tend to even out. Jeremy's correct. In my experiences, more often than not, the person that rolls really well early actually loses because their dice cool off and average out. And you end up not having the dice on the turns that you actually needed them, and you just donated a bunch of power to your opponent. The only times it really gets bad is when it's so hard and so long that you get into the death spiral early. And when you get into the death spiral, the game's over. Like, once you got to the point where he's killing people before you can respond, it's over.
I think that.
But if you can stabilize, generally the games go back pretty even.
I think that's actually the magic of the dazed system in this game. The dazed chaos system is they purposely didn't want your opponent to be able to go, oh look, I got hot first on an 8-sided dice, so I just win. You're gonna have to play down six points, Connor. That's gonna happen, and so I think that's why. Like Jeremy's, like the MPE she felt was. He didn't get to even play Venom, even with the dazed mechanic. I still hate the reason why I hate Magneto so much, playing against Magneto so much, is the very first time I played against Magneto, my Killmonger never got to do a thing. He moved up twice,
and then was removed from play.
That was it. He never got to participate in the game, period. And that was all. And I was like, oh well, this isn't a game I want to play, and I don't want to play this game. And obviously, and the weird part about it is it was like a D deployment or something. He was only like I
remember that game.
Yeah, he was only like a medium move from my deployment zone, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, he went up to contest one of the central points and died.
No, it wasn't central. It wasn't on the center line. It was a back corner deployment.
Was it a B deployment?
Yeah. That's how
it wasn't. It wasn't a backline deployment.
Was it?
It might have been a B, but I thought it was a Charlie deployment.
Maybe I think it was a B. The point
it's our first TTS game. You can actually go watch this game on YouTube.
Yeah. The point is, it made me feel like, oh man, I don't ever want to play against Magneto again. If I see a Magneto, I'm just going.
I think you had it was Killmonger, Captain Marvel, Red Skull, Zemo. Something like that. I think I was playing
Wong.
I was playing that Defenders garbage with Magneto. That was so fucking stupid.
That was the famous game where you put two portals within like range 2 of each other.
The portals were within 4 inches of each other, and he's like, "You're an idiot." And then he saw what it was doing. He's like, "I fucking hate this.
Yeah.
Like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen."
Just so dumb.
That was a fun game
for you, and that's the point. I think.
All right. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us today. This has been Brandon.
And Dr. Mantis Toboggan MD.
Jeremy.
PirateBay.com/TheRealNapster.
Damn it, I clicked OK. Fuck.
Oh. And hopefully you guys had a good time. This has been Shadow of the Colossus.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
Go ahead with your question.
Question.
So this book that you're reading, does it read like an encyclopedia article? Like how does it read?
It reads like a journey. He he writes it and he'll tell you some of this won't make sense. Let me explain it later. And he jumps kind of back and forth and explains different like realities that are happening and why. And then he'll give you a few episodes to back it up. And then he'll go to the next series of books, or series of comic books that relate. And then he basically ties them all with pieces of string. And it can be read chronological. It can be read any way you want to. But all of them link together, and he basically tells you how and why.
So just focus on the stories. He doesn't really mention like any politics going on at Marvel, or like the writer really wanting to do something, and so he wanted
No,
to
he
take
tells
it
you
back.
that stuff too. Yeah.
That's what I was curious about,
Mhm.
because that's one of the things that I find fascinating is how much of it's not really. Well, sorry, this is really like there's a lot of politics that goes into it, just like organizational politics,
Yeah.
but also just like writer interest and writer like what they want to do, and then also writer ego, like they want their story to link into something else, or they don't want it to link into anything else. They want to blow up characters. They want to resolve characters in a certain way. So yeah, that sounds fascinating.
Yeah. It's called All of Marvel's, and I can't read who it's by. You'll have to look it up. But yeah, it's all of it. Like he was explaining how Fantastic Four, it's like when Stan Lee and Kirby were involved doing their thing, it was really great. And then all of a sudden, for 20 years, Fantastic Four didn't do anything interesting. They simply got kidnapped over and over and over again
Yeah.
and didn't expand their universe because there wasn't any writers that really gave a shit about it. So like he talks about those dynamics, which I had no idea about.
Yeah,
I'm
because
not-
You said it was called All of the Marvels?
All of
Yeah,
the
I got it.
Marvels.
I got
Yeah,
it.
it's brand new.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at an excerpt from it right now. I'm looking at it on Amazon.
Mhm.
Is it on Audible?
Probably.
I'm going to check. I need to get some more stuff on Audible anyway.
Yeah.
The new Alex Virus book is out, Parker.
Ooh.
I haven't picked it up yet.
Oh. Have I read the last one? Have I read the last? I think so.
I believe you have.
Yeah.
All of the Marvels by Douglas Wolk. Does it look like this?
That's it. Yep.
Okay.
It's just
Put it on
it's
my
slightly
list.
too far for my blind eyes to read. I can't read it. But I started looking at it, and yeah, I got it. That's it.
Okay.
And I'm not a reader by any means. I'll audio everything, but the kids were doing something, and I'm like, oh, I'll check this out. And an hour and a half later, I was just in it. I'm like, this is so interesting.
Mhm. I mean, yeah, I like that stuff too, so I'll probably check it out.
The first sentence: the 27,000 or so superhero comic books that Marvel Comics has published since 1961 are the largest continuous self-contained work of fiction ever created, over 500,000 pages to date and growing. Thousands of writers and artists have contributed to it. Every week, about 20 slim pamphlets of 20 or 30 pages apiece are added to the body of a single enormous story. By design, any of its episodes can build on the events of any that came before it, and they're all more or less consistent with one another. Yeah.
I find that fascinating. Just that in itself. That's fascinating.
Yeah, that's cool.
He even goes over like the outliers, like G.I. Joe never falls into them. Like they're totally separate. There's a handful of Marvel titles that don't enter the universe and never will. And he kind of like says, just because I'm saying they all mix, some of them do not. Like Care Bears do not enter, but they are Marvel. It's like, okay.
I mean, Ninja Turtles are kind of that way. They're kind of separate.
But that's not
I thought-
a Marvel title.
Yeah.
Well, they're not Marvel, but they're comic book.
Transformers was a Marvel title for a while.
Hmm.
A lot of the Mattel stuff was Marvel for a while. That's Transformers, G.I. Joe, and then also currently Star Wars. Marvel has a huge Star Wars universe, not interacting with
that's
with
true.
the MCU.
Well, yeah, that galaxy is far, far away.
And many and a long time ago. A long time ago.
Yeah. This is long over. So Parker, I see you're double blanketing it tonight because you're in your basement, and I'm also in my basement. It gets a little chilly down here in the winter, but I found a way to keep my feet warm. You ready? Boom!
Nice.
Oh my God.
Are those Chiefs shoes or are they Ronald McDonald shoes?
These are slippers.
I like that.
They're just giant slippers that look like Chiefs sneakers.
I like it.
They just came in this week.
Hey, at least now you can wear shoes to the game.
I wear
Yeah.
shoes I wore shoes this time.
I did notice that. You did wear shoes. Usually you're a flip-flopping winter kind of guy, but this time I saw shoes.
Man,
Yeah.
when I looked over at you at that game with that wind rushing by me at no less than 60 miles an hour,
Mm.
I was like,
I was
"Gross."
told after the fact it was windy. I literally did not notice.
That's crazy. It was fucking cold. I told everybody at work that I went and saw the game, and they were like, "Man, that wind," and I'm like, "Dude, you weren't there. You have no idea. My face was all
you
wind
shut the fuck
chapped.
up.
Like my
You don't
face was
say
all
that.
tight and wind chapped the next day."
I bought 12 sticks of chapstick this morning and just rubbed them on my face.
I will tell you that up where we were in the boonies, even though we could not see the ball at all,
No, I couldn't see anything.
we couldn't see where
Blind
the
as
ball was
fuck.
going. You couldn't see where the ball was going in any way. The wind up there was actually pretty mild. Like I was actually at about halftime, I was like, "This is actually not that bad. I am not entirely uncomfortable."
It's kind of weird. It catches the west north corner and then just like spirals down.
Right.
It's weird. The wind hits the stadium in a very specific way, and it's almost always the same.
Yeah.
And then it just vortexes all the way down to the field.
Yeah, it was quite extraordinary how really fucking fast and the total opposite direction it was in your seats compared to mine. And
Mhm.
they were just about 300 yards apart.
Mm-hmm. That's probably an exaggeration. You were pretty close to us, actually.
Oh, really? I couldn't see.
You
I
were
couldn't
probably
find
only
you.
like 50 yards from us.
Maybe.
You gotta remember, the whole length of the field is 100 yards. And
Yeah.
that's not counting the end zone.
Yeah, but I could-
So the field's actually 120 yards.
I could tell you though that we were up really high, like
Yeah, you guys
very
were high.
high.
There wasn't
I've
many
never-
people behind us.
No,
Mhm.
I have not. I
You
have
got
not
to know
climbed up.
all of them.
Yeah, I am not. Well, here's the other thing about the people up there. People up there, I don't know if it's like the altitude or maybe it's the climb just makes them winded. They were pretty chill. I always
They
feel
were
like,
tired.
they-
We were all
Yeah.
Cheap
tired.
seats people are very chill.
Yeah, I feel like you guys. I remember down there, like every once in a while, I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to see like blood tonight. If somebody's going to pop somebody in the chin, or just
I
like,
almost had to break
or
up
just
a fight.
scream so loud that an eyeball pops out or something. Because
Mhm.
and not scream so loud like in cheering, scream so loud at a player on our team they don't appreciate.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. And that didn't happen at all up there. It was a very pleasant experience, except maybe, and you know what? Maybe it was pleasant because no one could tell what was going on very well.
Yeah, the very back edges, it's more of like a casual like hangout than anything else.
mm,
Because anyone who cares is closer.
Yeah.
Because the difference in price of going and not going, and then going and going in a good seat,
Mhm.
is very mild at Arrowhead. Like the cheapest seat you can get is only like 10% cheaper than getting a good seat. So it's like, why wouldn't you just get a good seat?
right. No, I did decide. I am glad that I went up there to see what it was like, because now I know that that's not something I'm interested in.
Mhm. That was a pretty good day overall.
Oh yeah, the weather was amazing the first portion of our adventure,
Mhm.
but man, it
Mhm.
got a little windy up in the tips.
Mhm. You guys need to get tickets for next year.
Eh.
I don't know if I would enjoy it as much if I went to like 6 of them. I really dig like the 2 or 3 a year. I'm happy with that. It's
Mm.
I don't know. I and for the price is just too much, man. It's just so expensive.
For me, it's
Well-
also for me it's like the price of time. Like at this
Mhm.
point right now, every once in a while I can going there does not break the social credit bank.
Yeah.
But if I started going there on the reg, I don't know if I could ever play MCP. Like I don't know how often
yeah.
I could get away from play MCP.
There's a cost for
You
everything.
gotta make sacrifices for Chiefs games.
Right, that's what I'm saying is I would rather play MCP.
Well, you gotta remember also, so if you don't go to the preseason games, which you don't have to, and there's gonna be basically 8 to 9 games a year, and they're very rarely gonna be back to back. It's really not that bad, I don't think. It basically breaks down to 1 in 5 weekends. A little less than 1 in 5 weekends.
Well, we'll have to see what prices are. I mean, I'm sure it'll get even more
Well, they're
expensive.
gonna go up after we win the Super Bowl this year, so.
This is exactly the kind of team that wins the Super Bowl. Like middling success with a lot of potential. That's exactly what happens a lot.
Maybe. So I caught up on all the Dexter, and I caught up all the Hawkeye, and I caught up on, let's see. You know what? Actually, Parker, something much more important we have to talk about. Because you're a teacher. Diary of a Wimpy Kid is the worst influence I've ever seen on any movie. Like, holy shit. My kids love that thing. I've never sat down and watched it. And tonight I was watching it with them because there was nothing else to do. And I was just horrified. Like, it is the most damaging property I have yet to see. And we have watched Punisher and Terminator, and we've watched all these Predator together, me and my boys. Nothing compared to this thing. Oh my God.
Okay, now explain to me what about it was so righteous.
Bullying is so funny. Oh, it's hilarious. It's hilarious to bully.
So it just teaches bad habits.
Oh, it's hilarious for the gym coach to be like giving everybody shit, and the big kids to be picking on the little kids, and all the torturous things young kids do to each other with like the cooties and don't touch me and don't sit here. And it's like, it's fine because it's funny. And I'm just sitting there watching it like horrified.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Now,
it's like Porky's.
Yeah.
You would never watch your kids watch Porky's because it'll teach them bad habits.
Welcome to my world.
Things you don't want them to do, but the movie might be funny.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you watch Revenge of the Nerds again, and you're like, oh my God, this is terrifying. Like the things that are going on in this movie, the things that are said. But now that is my world every time I turn on like Saturday morning cartoons, because every commercial is, look at this teacher, what a fucking idiot, we hate school. It's like let's go and like every after school special, like growing up, every single one, who was the bad guy? It was like the teacher, right? It was the authority figure trying to give like an education to the kids, and you're like, what a square, teach. Let's put slime on him. Yeah, like it's everything is at the expense of what we now see to be a really important influence on a young person's life. Like, it's really weird how often like media glorifies things that we surely do not want glorified, and we don't see it happening. And this is why I believe that lots of things that has kind of been laid at the feet of certain kinds of media, like video games, for example, like violent video games have been shown never in any study ever to promote actual violence in children, right? But yet it keeps getting laid down at the feet of that. You play a violent video game, you're emulating that behavior, but then you'll give that same kid, Diary of a Wimpy Kid or a Goosebumps book where the teacher is an alien and ends up getting murdered by the children by the end of the book, and that's seen as like wholesome entertainment, and I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's and I guess my point actually, I think the main point is you can watch those medias. Like, you can have your kid interact with those medias as long as you're doing it responsibly and you're having conversations with them, like reflecting about what it actually means, or do they think this is actually happening in real life? Do they think this is actually something? If you're nervous about the message it sends, you can have conversations with kids because they're not stupid, and so they'll talk to you about what it means, and how real they think it is. But yeah, if you just assume just because something is popular that it doesn't have this kind of weird depiction, this very strange depiction of things that you don't want to see, then you're wrong. You're wrong. You're very, as you say, yeah. Welcome to the teacher's world. Every time I turn on the fucking TV.
Everyone's watching Squid Game right now, and like Squid Game promotes financial irresponsibility and like murder. So
I
like how everyone there is like, why didn't you declare bankruptcy? Like, that was literally stated as an option in the beginning of the show, and you would rather murder strangers and risk your own life than declare bankruptcy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, that's of course it would defeat the plot, right? It's just like, why didn't Superman just throw the baby ship at him in the first place? Like, it ends the plot.
Well, that's because he's stupid.
Right.
Like, they never said he was smart. They just
true.
said he had all the superpowers.
It's just not super smart.
Because he was stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I I cringe continuously about that kind of media. Or you know, I want to be able to have a conversation about it. Like, what is it? You know, how real is it? How much does it mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just the other day, I was reading something with my kids at night, and in the story, it was a modern story. It was written. I had to open up the copyright date after the book read. I was like, when the fuck was this written? It said 2019. I was like, Jesus Christ! And in the book, you know, Tommy is really upset that Sally. It was a Christmas book. It was Christmas, you know, because it's Christmas time, so the Christmas books all come out. And Tommy was really upset that he got a doll, and Tammy was really upset that she got a bicycle. And I was like, why the fuck would they be mad about that? They're like 3 and 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that's not something to be upset about. But the book was presumed that if a child was a boy, that he would not want to take care of a toy. He would want to exercise and be active. And a girl would be angry that she had to be active with a toy and rather just, you know, caretake. And the presumption of that was extremely sexist to me. And I go, this is just like real nail on the head. The other day I was reading it was a goddamn Disney princess book. It was a Disney princess book. And the Disney princess book was about how princesses are fulfilled by marriage.
Oh
like
my.
it was all the different examples of how all these different Disney princesses were very sad and lonely, and now they're not very sad and lonely anymore because they have a man in their lives. And as I was reading, I was like, Jesus, this was written, and it's a sing-song book. You like push the buttons and it will sing.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to sing, and all the songs are about finding love and marriage through like a man, and it's all the examples of that. And I
feel like Disney at this point has 2 lanes. And for the longest time, it was the first lane, which was like the most ridiculous stereotype crap like you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
And then they've discovered the second lane, which is hard right opposite of that, hit you over the head with how it's overly politically correct. And they still drive both lanes.
Yeah.
But they don't understand that it's the middle lane that they need to be in.
That's
Like-
there is let me give you a really good example of a good middle lane.
It's like, look, we're not whitewashing. We literally had a movie with no white people in it. It's like, that's not what that means.
Here's a really good example of a middle lane, and then we can start podcasting. Mitchells versus the Machines was a movie put out by Sony Pictures, of all things, on Netflix. It's fantastic. The main character of the movie is it's not really stated out loud ever, but she is sexually attracted to women, and she has a love interest in the movie who is also a girl. They never ever once mention it. Like, they never say it. It's never important. It's never a big deal.
They don't need exposition.
Right.
It's just the state of things.
Right.
We
It's
move
not.
on.
It's not like she overcomes some challenge to her sexuality or anything. It's just that's it. And at one point in the movie, her mom like says, "Who is that?" You know, in the same way, you know, a mom is, you know, gives somebody a hard time for talking to a love interest when you're a teenager. And it wasn't until the very end of the movie that I realized that she was homosexual until the end. And I went, this is perfect. Like, this is great. It was in the movie. It was the way to interpret it. They didn't hide it, but they also didn't like espouse it and make it the point of the movie. I was like, and it was for children. It was for young people. It was just normalizing something that should be normalized about people. And I really, really liked it. And that was a really good version of like in the right, you know, smack down the middle, where you're not heavy-handed with the political correctness, and you're also not heavy-handed with the conservatism, I guess is the best way to put it. But have you seen the new My Little Pony movie, Jeremy?
No, I have not.
I've only seen it like 9 times.
That one is super hard to the trying to espouse. Overcorrecting. Yeah. It's a charming movie, but it's really nail on the head. Like, how hard can we ram it home that children should be wary of despotism and fascism? Like, it's about that.
Yeah.
And
it's weird. It's like they think they don't have to be good in the rest of their movies if they have one movie that has 10 times as much in it. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
I
clearly don't understand how this works.
I actually don't know who made the My Little Ponies, like the new one. I don't know what production company made it. It'd be weird if it was Sony, because that means they did one direction or the other. It was Entertainment One, called Boulder Media. I've never heard of that, but yeah. Anyway, it's on Netflix right now. You can see like 2 examples designed for kids of like really 2 really good examples of like going right down the middle in I think the most correct way, and then going really heavy-handed. I don't know if you can find one of the old ones. I probably have to go to Disney Plus to one of their, the dark Disney Plus section.
Yeah.
I feel like we're dropping some woke shit today, guys.
Yeah.
Well done.
Parker just needed to get on his soapbox.
I
Hey,
unleashed
Teachers are
the
talked
cube.
down to too often.
No,
That's
you did.
fine.
You stepped on the landmine for sure. Yeah, you walked to it.
I knew I would. It bothered me a bit watching that, and I was like, man, this is just a trip. And I knew you would have an opinion of it.
You are right. You are right to be bothered. We also notice. Yes.
We also.
Yeah.
Right. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
For
Mhm.
The new Spider-Man movie comes out, and all shit's
yeah.
about to fucking. I'm over it. I can leave the earth. I'm
yeah,
good. I'm good.
It's probably gonna be the second most influential movie in the MCU.
In my life, I thought you were going to say in my life.
I mean, that's obviously a given because all MCU movies are above every other movie.
You
Thank
really
you.
think it's going to be that influential? I do not.
No, I don't. Well, I do think the Spider-Man movie is going to be, but it's okay because you haven't watched the second Spider-Man movie yet. Gonna fucking
You
beat to
sick
death.
son of a bitch.
To be fair, I have seen the entire. I have seen well, it's probably like a 2-hour movie. I think I've seen an hour and 40 minutes of it.
It's 4 hours.
It's not a 4-hour movie. It's not. It's not.
It was
It's
the
not
Zack
Lord of the
Snyder cut.
Rings, Fellowship of the Ring
Zack
uncut.
Snyder,
Yeah.
Zack Snyder director's cut, direct to DVD in Alaska only.
Mm. Because the time, because the longer days.
Yeah,
you
because
can-
the long days. Yeah.
But yeah, I have seen almost the entirety of that movie, but not every single minute. No.
Why didn't you watch it? It's a good movie.
The whole movie in its entirety never came up on a platform that I had. I didn't
Disney
I didn't see it in theaters.
Plus?
And it's not.
Oh,
it's
you
never,
don't have Disney Plus.
No, it is on Disney. It's not on Disney Plus. It has never been on Disney Plus, and there are absolutely no plans to put it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's a Sony, and they're just not selling it.
Mm-hmm. They're just not giving it away.
No.
Both Spider movies. So what I have done is on the internet cobbled together everything I can think of.
I
From
just
scenes.
watched it on YouTube.
Yeah, I basically just cobbled
I'm
together
curious.
5-minute
YouTube.
clips.
5 to 10 minute clips, and basically I watched the entire movie like that, and I missed a few jokes probably, but not much. I think I've gotten everything.
You need to respect Jake Gyllenhaal more. I think that's the problem. You're just not feeling it. I don't appreciate it.
Parker, I'm going to send you a dark web link. You have to open it with a special program, but you can watch the movie there. Just kidding.
If you just keep clicking yes, the movie will finally open.
If I wanted to pirate it, my brother, that's all my brother does, is just basically as soon as every streaming service started, as soon as every network had their own streaming service, he said, okay, pirating everything again. Like he immediately table flipped on Netflix and Disney Plus, and
He's like, you had me, and then you pulled back.
yeah, and then so now he just went immediately back to pirating everything, and so I know I could find a way to get it from him somehow.
And what's his full social and address
No,
for the FBI that's currently listening to this?
Don't worry. He finds ways to get around everything.
Well, that's why you don't really pirate, air quotes, pirate
No.
anything anymore. It's still pirated. You just watch it through a stream.
Yes.
So you're not actually
doesn't-
breaking any laws.
Right, he doesn't own
It's
anything.
illegal for them to post it, but
Right.
like they live in Singapore, so who cares?
Exactly.
Like,
That's how he does it. He
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
actually.
That's how everyone gets around it now.
Right.
It's like, turns out international law is shit.
Yeah. Well, it's just the copyright system can't keep up with
Yeah.
technology.
Do they-
so,
Yeah.
Do they still send
Because
letters?
like you take it down, we'll have 3 up in the next minute. Like it doesn't
Nah.
matter.
I mean, and the thing for him is he's streaming everything from other, like you said, other countries with powerful internet
Mm-hmm.
services, and so he never actually encounters any law breaking situation. It's just, that's how he gets.
Have you heard of anyone getting a letter in like the last 5 years? My brother got a letter. Like
Really?
Yeah, it was like
you have done bad things.
yes, you have done bad things. Your service will be disconnected and you will be reported. Blah blah blah.
Mm.
Like it was from the cable provider because he was
Yeah.
doing it through his IP, internet, whatevers. And and he never stopped, and he never got. I don't know what happened,
Yeah.
but I've heard of 2 people getting letters.
Well, I haven't seen one of those letters in a long time. Probably in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
We got them.
Did you?
But, we got them because, well, we had like 5 dudes living in a 4-bedroom house. So yeah, of course we got those letters because we would download. We had 300 gigabytes worth of movies.
It looked like a.
and that was in standard definition. That was like 400 movies.
Oh my
It's
god.
like, of course we did fucking pay for those.
Mm.
But that was like what, 5 years after LimeWire went away, and so that was like the peak of Pirate Bay like shit, like the download torrent stuff.
Do you ever watch the good ones where you would watch it and someone gets up, walks in front of the
Yeah.
camera, and then sits back down?
I was watching
Nice.
G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, and someone stood up and it scared the shit out of me.
Nice.
Because it was such a good copy, I
Uh-huh.
thought it was a DVD rip. And this fuckhead in a bowl cut just stands up. I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, I almost fell out of my fucking chair. Scared the piss out of me. I was like, holy fuck, they make cameras that good? That was like a 4K camera in 2008. Like, it was a $10,000 camera. I was like, holy shit. But anyway, yeah, that was funny. You guys ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Let me get some timestamps.
Did you like that game, Brandon? You ever played that game?
I never played it.
Oh, that game was one of the best games ever. And something
I
tells
think I would have liked it.
Brandon,
Hold on, let me get this
that's
timestamp
what I was about to say, Brandon. I feel like you would have loved that game because that game was not about. That game was just about being like persistent. Like that was the only point of that game. Can you be persistent? Because you're really going to enjoy being just persistent. Like that's all you have to do. That was a super fun game.
Never give up.
Yeah.
Never surrender.
Yeah, just never give up. Go murder like these giant monsters that are like walking
I
puzzles.
thought the concept of the game was super cool.
Yeah.
It's like, because it was its own thing. It wasn't tied to some reimagined bullshit from
Right.
the 90s.
Oh, no.
It was, we came up with a world where there's these fucking enormous creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And they're called the Colossus. And there's like 7 or 12 of them. And it's like, you're a hunter, go kill them. And that was the game.
Yeah,
It's
I think there was it was very simple. Like their life force was tied to someone you cared about. Like if they stayed alive, your person you cared about died, something like that. And that was
I'm sure there was a story, but
yeah.
I have no idea.
But it wasn't complicated. That was it. It was
It was one of the first Xbox games, right?
I think it was PlayStation.
I'm pretty sure that was like the first 6 months.
I think it was PlayStation actually.
Was it? I'm pretty sure it was. It might have been on PlayStation first, but I'm pretty sure it was It was one of the first like 6 games out for Xbox.
That was one of the first games that I could ever. Sorry, that was the only non-competitive, like non-head-to-head multiplayer game that I could just watch somebody play in silence. Just watch what they were doing because the game was super pretty and super interesting to watch. And I've never had another game like that where I was like, this game is just so pretty and fun to watch. I'm just going to sit here and watch this happen.
I couldn't find it on a quick Google, but I'm pretty sure it was one of the first ones. Anyway, I pulled up our podcast stats, but then you went to go take up Dookie, so here's our podcast stats. Our estimated audience size is officially in the 3 digits.
Ho ho!
Ooh.
Woo! I can't remember what it was last time, but I
did
remember we did like a 6-month break where we didn't look at our stats, and that it was like 42 back then. And I think last time we did it was in the 80s, and now it's up to 100, so that's cool. We have over 4,400 plays, and let's see here. Our most recent spike is December 1st, which was last week.
Too big to fail.
Yep.
Too big to fail.
Check it out. Our top episodes all time. Last week's episode is already on the top 10 list.
I think it's going to be.
In fact, it is number 4. Wait.
Yeah.
It's tied for number 3. And it's been out for less than a week. That's good. Our all-time largest is still episode 60. I don't know what we did on 60. Do you guys remember?
Is that where we talked about the convention or like the tournament?
Yeah.
That might have been.
The
That
convention.
might have been,
Yeah, people People really dig convention episodes. We need to get back to some more events.
Yeah, buy us tickets to conventions through the airplanes, and we'll go there. It'll be great.
I just need them to actually have tickets. The hell is up with Vegas?
That's true. We'll buy them. Just get them. Just drop out of LVO so we can go.
Yeah. Get out of our way.
We need
so
3 people to drop out of LVO.
Yep.
Hopefully they're going to expand the tickets soon, and we'll be able to get in. We're all on the wait list, and so that should be fun. I need to talk to him about stuff. I looked up the rules he's using. They seem kind of odd. Like they seem to put a heavy weight on how many control points you score each round, which I think is a real bad idea. Not that you shouldn't be trying to score control points, but like at the convention we just went to, I had 3 of my 4 opponents tried to concede mid-game. And so it was like, all right, well, we've only scored 1 round, so it's 3-2. So I guess I lose the tournament because I have no strength of schedule.
Well, surely he's just making up these rules, right? Because there's no official.
Right. There's a collaboration. I believe he's talked with like the guys from the Ominous podcast and stuff like that. But yeah, like there's no hard rules for this stuff because they haven't released a tournament package.
Right.
Which is why I said there needs to be one.
Right. So
because if we go to Warfare Weekend and they play it one way, and we go to LVO and they play it differently, it's gonna be really annoying.
So, but what that tells me is, you can just decide if you get. If you concede, you give your opponent, I don't know how many points you want to say, like.
But the fact that you count points at all, I think, is silly.
Yeah.
Because if you play a game versus your buddy and you decide that you have a better shot of winning, which people will say is like annoying inclusion stuff, it is. That is how that works. It is collusion, and it should be against the rules. But there's also no rules against collusion, so.
Yarp.
Good luck. Like that's the problem. It's like if it's just accepted someplace and we go to another thing and like 2 guys do it and 1 guy gets thrown out for it, it's like there needs to be consistent rules. That's all I'm saying. I don't think the counting control points is ever a good idea because it's a weakness of schedule thing. If I play some random guy who's never played before and he doesn't score a single point, I should not be advantaged for that because he doesn't know what he was doing. And then the guy to my right plays a hour-and-a-half long game and they grind it out to 15-16 and he gets 1 and I got like 18. Like, how is that fair? Like, it's not a balanced ratio. It also doesn't take into account the different play styles. Like, one of the modes of victory is defeat your opponent's models and you get no points for that. I think that's silly.
So what do you think? What is the argument for it? I agree with you wholeheartedly. Now when I'm sitting here going...
I don't know that there is an argument for it other than we don't want to use strength of schedule, and I don't understand. Like, strength of schedule is the only way to rate it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a reason that, like, chess doesn't, like, do stuff like that. Like, you don't count pieces destroyed. Like, because that's not fair. Also the timing. They're doing chess clocks, but you don't lose the game when the chess clock expires. You keep playing, and then like weird stuff happens.
Wait, what?
I don't know. Yeah, it's not a death clock; it's a chess clock. So when your chess clock runs out at the end, I think the thing he said in the document was at the end of each turn you give your opponent a control point. But then I just said, then why would I ever end my turn? And it was like that doesn't make sense. Like I just don't end my turn. He's like, but your timer's done. It's like, that's correct, but the game's not over. So I'm going to just sit here until the game's over. So you get no more points. Like, what the fuck? Like and then like the fact that the points are weighted for strength of schedule makes no sense either. I don't understand that at all. I wanted to talk to him and see if I could get a reasoning behind it as to why they were doing it, or if they just copied rules from somewhere that was doing it too. I don't know. I disagree with a lot of the things in the packet, but which is why I just wanted to talk to him. I have his info. I just need to actually get around to it. I've been very busy. Anyway, that was a fun Chiefs game.
Was it?
You didn't like it?
Was it?
No, I really enjoyed the time that we had. Like, the time we had is fantastic. I wouldn't have traded it for anything. It was a great Sunday afternoon and evening. But in terms of a game to watch, was
I
extremely
meant the
undramatic.
experience of the game, not the game itself.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
The game was okay.
Yeah, the game was. I'm great for a win, but that was Jeremy was
I
talking
really
about.
need to rewatch the game. I remember very little of it.
Jeremy and I were talking about, like, we felt like we were watching Marty Ball for a while. Just like this does not look like, Captain Pat goes, to church. He was very much, let's just slowly, run it for 3 downs, and Pat will throw a 12-point. Pat will try an 8-yard pass. You're like, okay, cool. Like, when is something going to happen?
Part of the problem is Andy does this thing where he plays down to his opponent a lot. If his opponent is doing nothing, Andy will just immediately shift into like neutral and just like, all right, well, I'm fine just letting it play out if you do. And then eventually they get froggy and try and come back, and then we start scoring again. And so that if you look at our track record of games, that happens a lot. Oh. Now, with how the offense has been struggling this year, I don't know that that's what was happening. But I have a feeling if the Broncos had mounted anything other than we suck, that they would have done something.
Oh, yeah, that was my next sentence, which was that was paired with a team that was just what's this game? Like they were all thumbs. So it was a game. It was a team that was willing to, like you said, play down to a level and just play really consistent Marty Ball versus a team that was just, thumbs directly up their asses. So
yeah. I mean, at some point your opponent has to score a touchdown to beat you, so you kind of just sit there and watch them try.
Mm-hmm. And again, super effective strategy. Not sad that we lost. Not super exciting to watch. Just not
it definitely was a game where, like, after first quarter, I was kind of like, boy, that took fucking forever. Like, this is gonna be a long
are we done now? Is that
game.
over?
Yeah, like it
also
was taking a long time.
And I will say this: when you go to a game, I want to jump up and down and hear people yell and give Jeremy a high five. I gave Jeremy 2 high fives.
I was high fiving on incompletes. Like I was in it.
Yeah, that's.
I was deep.
You were lit.
I was deep in that hand crate.
I clapped a lot for Harrison Butker. That man is a kicking machine. Unless he has to kick the easy ones, which is adorable. I love how it's just like, how many do I have to kick? 66 yards? Is it into the wind? It's not into the wind. Fuck it. I'm not going out there. He drills the most impossible kicks, and then extra point kicks. He's like, you know what?
He seems to not miss the hard ones.
Right. And then he goes out there for an extra point and shanks it, which I think is adorable. I love it. I never change Harrison Butker if you're listening to this podcast.
I mean, I'd like him to stop doing that, but he's done it way less recently.
Right.
It was really just one stretch in 2019. He missed 6 or 7 in a 4-game period. And it was kind of like he's got the yips, like he's just, I don't know why. Because in that same game, he hit 3 58-yarders, and you're like, okay, well, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, that was.
He's either the greatest ever or terrible. I don't understand.
That's what we talked. That was the game where he got iced, and then a weird penalty forced him to make the same ridiculous kick 3 times. Yeah,
he's the Nicolas Cage of kicking.
Yeah, he is.
You're either the greatest of all time or absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
I can't decide.
We can't decide. Yeah. All right, I got to be done. I got to be done right now.
I'm ready to wrap it up.
My tummy is saying.
You got the rumblies?
No, it's about to go full Drano on us. We got to get this right now, right now.
You know that's hereditary, right?
It's something. I'm literally gonna drop the microphone on the ground.